Two
Hi,
and five
everyone.
six.
Oh,
2 and 7/8.
hi. Good morning, everyone.
Do
Welcome
you not do
to
that?
No, not with my
Do you not
children.
do that? You
No,
don't no?
absolutely not. No.
Oh, okay.
Whole
I
numbers
thought I was
only. They have
oh,
5 whole seconds. They have 5 whole seconds. Like I even extended it by 2. So like they have hi
hey,
Miko.
Miko. Oh, of course Miko's trying to get
Oh,
this extra
Mika's
Sunday for
here.
Miko.
Yay! Hello and welcome to Waking Up with Nana and PepPep. I am Arooks. I am Nana, obviously. And this is.
Sean or PepPep? Sorry, I thought you were gonna do that. I didn't realize I needed to introduce
Oh,
myself.
okay.
I'm your friendly neighborhood
Sorry.
workers. Oh, is our audio working?
No, I had it as a mode only when I forgot. When we did a Rick's
Oh,
happy hour. So
gotcha.
hello. We are waking up with Nana and PepPep. Are we discuss
Oh,
religious trauma. We are religious trauma. I
we
don't
do.
even know. Like
We are 8 out of 3.
Sean and I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church. We it's a Protestant Christian
Evangelical,
fundamentalist evangelical,
whatever you wanna call
however.
it.
Yeah. We also call it the cult. Um
Mhm.
so this is waking up with Nana and PepPep is us discussing our religious trauma and how we work through that. We are not therapists. We are not medical professionals. This is our own personal experiences, our own personal opinions. We can give you some resources to talk to actual therapists. We actually have one in the
We
chat.
know some
We know a
people.
couple. We know some people.
Don't out her.
But here's our disclaimer. We are not religion bashing. That is not what we do. We support and we um agree with those of any religious based faiths as long as they are done in a healthy way and that they help a person grow and not as a manipulative tactic. So, this is again our personal experiences. This is our personal opinions. This is not fact. We are just. This is just our opinion. So,
This is telling you our journey and our
our journey.
experiences growing up the church, in the churches that we attended, and the people that were around us.
Because we grew up in the Bible Belt,
We did. We yes. Mhm.
and
Potluck.
some of us got met with the Bible Belt. Oh, well, once or twice.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Hi, Groovy
Yes.
Bear. Hi, Miko. Okay, so. Oh, was that really loud? I'm sorry. That was really loud here.
That,
It was very
that's it. It
cheerleading.
got
Did you
everybody's
see?
attention.
Did you
It
see?
was.
It was very cheerleading. Um, May. Welcome to the 1st of May, May 1st. And
Mhm.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, very excited about this. So we
Yep.
decided that the first Sunday, the first day of May, it would be
Mhm.
appropriate to talk about growing up in the church and mental health and how those two never coincided together.
No. Mm-mm.
um,
I mean,
we
well,
what?
mental health, they went together, just not in a positive way.
Oh,
There, it
what is
definitely
that?
affected our mental health.
Oh, yes, yes, it did. Yes. um, This is a topic, mental health, and especially how we were raised to view mental health is actually in our adult life. I can't speak for Sean, but for me, is actually very important, and that's the whole reason we have this podcast. That's the whole reason I started streaming was because I feel like some of these topics just need to be talked about. Just need to be not even that I have like any type of authority in anything, but just so that people know that they're not alone. And we
Mhm.
all are dealing, especially after the pandemic, we all are dealing with stuff. and it I think it helps to get that. That's it's important to me. Mental health is important to me. Doing things in a healthy. Good morning, Calvino.
Hey,
Um,
Calvino.
doing things in a healthy, both mentally and emotional way, and that's actually a very hard thing to do. Um, I mean, for anyone, but especially for those who've
Hmm.
grown up the way we were raised, to just even as an adult, you have to fight all of the things that you've learned and you were trained. I don't know about you, but
Oh, no, absolutely. That was not mental health was not something that you really talked about uh, growing up. Wasn't in for many many years until that was something that I actually put realized what needed to be dealt with. And sometimes it helps to just talk, especially we have the last couple of years in the pandemic. Just being able, that's why we like to do this, is it's just an opportunity to talk about what you've been through. Because that is a hard thing for me to do actually. Is open up. Yeah, you know this. Is to open up and
I
actually
may have said
talk
something a couple
about
weeks ago.
yes, and probably the week before that, and then at some point recently before that. Yeah, it's a bit of a recurring theme. Yeah, I'm gonna tell on myself for a moment. Am often considered a good listener, but there's a reason for that, and it's not because I just love to listen. It's because I tend not to talk, and I don't talk because I don't share. I don't want to share because sharing and vulnerability and that kind of stuff. So I tend to listen a lot, and I tend to ask questions a lot, and I tend to keep the other person talking as much as I can because that means I don't have to share, and it keeps me. Yeah, that's something that I'm still working on. There you go. Yeah.
But we love you anyway.
Hmm. So it doesn't matter how old you are.
Mm-mm.
If you decide it is, you're never too old to decide. I need to improve my mental health. I need to prioritize my mental health. So many people don't prioritize mental health. It is just as important as physical health. Just because you can't see it, it's not as obvious as a broken bone, doesn't mean it doesn't affect your life, if not more.
Mhm.
The
And
the effects of your. Mhm.
right. And when you are in like when you're dealing with stuff, sometimes those coping mechanisms or those things that you learned you that you've taken on as a personality trait, like I know it's like a personality trait is not
Oh
really a
god.
personality trait. It is just an overcompensation for some trauma or mental health issue that you're
Ooh.
not dealing with.
Mm.
And so it's not really your personality. Like it becomes a whole thing when you get into therapy. Like when your therapist starts digging, like you unearth some things
Like,
about yourself.
yeah, when the layers get peeled
Hi,
back, it's
beautifully.
you thought some of you thought onions were bad. Yeah, trauma layers.
Trauma layers.
It's like a cake. It's like an onion. What
I feel
happens
like
when you
it's
peel
string
away an onion?
cheese. I feel like it's string cheese. Like, forget onions. I want string
Yes.
cheese.
And if you don't get that because you take a bite out of your string
Then you're a
cheese,
monster. You're a monster.
mm, no, no, no. If you listen to Miko's podcast a couple weeks ago, you're not a monster. People just do it differently. But I don't know if I need that negativity in my life.
We don't cheese shame here, Sean. We don't cheese
We
shame.
don't. Did you
No.
say we don't cheese shame?
Yes, we don't cheese shame people.
Okay. All
We
right.
don't
All
cheese
right.
shame. All
You know
right,
what?
so back on topic after we started talking about string cheese. Um, as you could tell, this is one that is like it's very important to both of us. So we are
Hmm.
overcompensating with jokes. We are avoiding like trying to get because
You mean humor as a defense mechanism? Is that a thing?
right, right.
Miko is probably going, uh-huh. Yep.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Hmm.
take a note. Uh-huh. Yep.
We don't since when Calvino talks about us not cheese shaming. Since now. We
Since
don't
now,
cheese
yeah.
shame since now. I mean, I will judge
But don't
you, but
bring
I
that
won't
stinky
shame
cheese
you.
around me.
Okay, so
Hmm.
what? Humor to cover trauma, right?
Right? Exactly. That's crazy
Um,
talk.
so I'm gonna spell a word for you, Sean, and I want to see your reaction. Okay. Are you ready?
Oh god.
F
Okay.
R O G. Frog.
You know
Fully
the
rely
okay.
on God.
I was going a whole different direction based
Oh
upon
my
my
God,
search engine
dirty.
today.
That's not what we're talking about. We're
No, no,
talking
no,
no.
no. Actually, no. It was cosplay. I've been looking up axe harnesses for cosplay, and frogs are what they call them.
No,
So that's
FROG.
where I
Fully
went.
rely on God. Focus on the subject at hand, please.
Yeah, like like cheese. Okay.
Jeez. Fully
Fully
rely on God.
rely on God. All right. How does that fit?
How does that fit? That was just basically all I was told as a kid. That was told like whenever it was ever we had a problem, whenever there was like something wrong, we just
Mhm,
rely on God. Just rely on God and it will be all okay.
mhm.
I'm in a massive depressive state as a teenager and I should just keep praying to God, but that's okay. So you're not teaching me any coping mechanisms or how to deal or what the root cause of my depression is or get me any real help. But as long as I am praying to a deity that really can't actively have a role in my life and actually help me with my problems, okay.
Did you just give it to God?
I gave it to God. I gave all my
Give it to
problems
God.
to God.
So that did seem to be the theme growing up for me too. I got it from both family, from parents, and from the church. Was you talk to it? First of all, you talk to the church. You're supposed to talk to your church elders, all right? You got to talk to your deacon or your pastor or your youth pastor or whatever. Which that is its own bit of a mess. What you're really doing is helping the gossip get around, but that's beside the point.
What? Christian tea?
So
It's not gossiping, it's
Christian,
prayer
it's
requests.
it's prayer request. Oh my god,
It's not gossip, it's prayer requests.
it's prayer requests. Mm,
So
especially in
I
the
don't
South.
right, especially in the South.
Yeah.
So like mental health was not dealt with. You didn't
Mm-mm.
they didn't tell you to go to therapy. They just told you to pray
Nope.
about it. They didn't tell you to get
Mhm.
help. They told you to read your Bible. They didn't give you
Yes.
resources to help you or they didn't point you in a direction of going like there were times okay, I have I have clinical depression and I like and that's just been and I have a lot of trauma starting from my childhood and there were some times where it was really really dark. And so I did the thing. I did the thing where I went to my respected elders or a respected trusted person
Mhm.
and they didn't say you need to seek help. You need okay, let's get you some help. What they
Mhm.
said was here are the verses that you need to read. Here is the
Yes.
verses. You need to pray
Yes, they
about
did.
it. Here's some songs that
Mhm.
you can listen to. I had somebody tell
Oh,
me that.
yep,
Like
yep.
here's a song, couple songs and really
Here's your
just
playlist.
give it to God and fight the
Mhm.
devil. It's the devil telling
It
you.
yes. Oh, yes. Mhm. Either you did something wrong and you're now and that's what's happening now because you did something wrong. You sinned. This is the effects of sin. Or you were doing good and this was Satan's attempt to derail you.
Mhm.
But you never really knew which one it was. So you were like trying to figure out, so did I do something bad? Did I do something good? It left you in a lot of confusion and with no positive movement.
And feeling worse than you did because they made you
Mhm.
feel bad for feeling bad, for not being in a good state.
Right? Yes,
Like
spiritual me, absolutely. You just
yes,
gotta
as
focus on your blessings. Gotta
blessing
focus
the
on your blessings.
blessings, the plastic
Yes.
positivity.
Right. Mhm.
And that's
Uh,
what taught us. I don't know about you,
yep.
Sean. And again, I say
Mhm,
us. That's what taught me um,
mhm.
to not say anything, to suffer in
Yes,
silence,
yes.
to get into that state of I don't want to be a burden. That is where
Mhm.
I learned how not to be a burden. Don't be a burden on somebody because I am dealing with my own spiritual battle. That is where I learned that, and how was the church. I had to be
Mhm.
joyful. I had to praise. I had to always be
Yes.
happy. And that's where I learned a
Even
lot
be
of
happy even in the misery.
that's where I
You
had to
learn to
learn
cover it up.
masking. That's where
Mhm,
I learned
mhm.
masking. That's where I learned
Yep.
deflection. That's where I
Mhm.
learned how to lie about how my mental state. That's where I learned to just go, I've got it. It's okay. Like I don't want to be a burden. That's where I learned
Yeah.
all of those things was in the church. Because when I was told was just to give it to God, or it was my own spiritual problem. It was not, it didn't have anything to do with my mental state. It had everything to do with my spiritual state. And that is dangerous. Like
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's
I
scarring.
learned I learned, after going to people several times, whether both parents and people in the church, the answer was always the same. Like you said, here are the verses. Here's the songs. Here's the devotionals. Here, let me give you this devotional book. And that was just supposed to handle it. And then
Chicken
you do that
soup.
long
Chicken soup for the
for the
soul.
soul. Chicken
Oh
soup for
my
the
God.
teenager soul. Chicken soup for the
Chicken
blah
soup
blah
for
blah
the
blah blah.
mother soul. Chicken, there was chicken soup for everything because that was supposed to make it
They
better.
squeezed every living
They
quarter
squeezed
out
that
of that.
chicken. They squeezed that
Oh my,
chicken.
yes, there was nothing left of that chicken. They boiled down the bones and made soup.
For those of you who don't know, Chicken Soup for the Soul is this book of stories and poems and whatever that were faith based.
Fearful Me knows about it.
That book, yeah, right?
If you
Right?
know about it,
If you know,
that's what
you know. If you know,
if you
you
know, you know.
know.
It was huge in the '90s.
It was
I remember it was so big. I remember in my senior year in my Spanish class, the the teacher actually read from that book on Fridays.
right. Like it's a series of stories and poems and parables or whatever,
Inspirational.
inspirational things that were Christian based, that were
Yeah.
to make you feel better, to make you feel like you were
Your
doing.
situation isn't that bad because someone else has it worse.
I think Beardful Me has the feels about that book.
Oh, beautiful me. Tell us how you feel.
Tell us how you really feel.
Hmm.
It was to
Wow.
minimize,
Yes.
to make you feel like you
Yes.
didn't have to get help. All you had to do, and it gave you a verse and it gave you something to contemplate,
Hmm.
but never got you help. Never gave you any tools. Never gave you any tools.
There are times where you were shifting your focus, thinking about perspective. There are times where that can help. There are times where you need to go, okay, I have been letting myself spiral. I've been thinking about this thing and what I call marinating on it. And I can't keep doing that. But that's specific situations. And that doesn't, if you're having a depressive bout, that doesn't do it. It's very, that, I'm just going to not, I'm just going to, well, these people have it worse. No, that doesn't work. So the problem is that perspective, that idea of, you just got to think differently or you just got to pray about it. That doesn't work.
Mm-mm.
Someone else has it worse. Yes, so what? My problem is still bad.
Mhm. Yeah.
Plastic positivity. There's a good video about that. I've seen it on YouTube before.
I think that's where I think the inspiration for that came from. But Jesus, right? But
Yes.
Jesus. But
Jesus.
Jesus. No,
Yes.
I just
And those six pack abs.
those, right? Those
Right.
okay, we're getting derailed by Jesus' abs.
The sexualization of Jesus? What? That long flowing hair, those six
All
packs,
right, all
those
right. So back to mental health. So, I
his body is
know,
a cracker.
I know for me, don't call me but Jesus.
Oh my god, Calvino. Well, we were attempting to get back on track and then Calvino.
And then there's Calvino. The Lord
Thanks,
wouldn't give
Calvino.
you anything you can't handle. Oh,
Oh, oh, whew. Thanks, Miko. We appreciate that. We were doing we weren't doing fine. We
I have
needed that.
opinions. I have
But
opinions.
Jesus,
Okay. The Lord, my mother
I feel like
said that so fucking often. And
Mhm.
this was her version of it. The Lord wouldn't give you anything that you can't handle. I just wish he didn't trust me that much. And I'm like, okay, so oh, okay. First off, the Lord has nothing to goddamn do with it. Like, the Lord has nothing to do with it. I'm triggered.
We have triggered Fearful Me.
You
Oh,
triggered
yeah.
everyone. Thanks,
Mi
Mika.
Miko
Mika, run
just
away.
took a grenade. Miko just took a grenade, pulled the pin, and chucked it into the chat. Thanks,
Yeah,
Miko.
she did. It's one of
Disgusting.
those. It is, and what she's meaning is the Lord wouldn't give you anything you can't handle. So it was like it was that whole you're what you're going through is shitty, but it's okay
Mhm.
because the Lord, you're strong enough. You'll
Yes.
survive. He wouldn't give you anything. The Lord didn't do shit to you. I'm sorry. My depression isn't Lord given. My depression isn't some cross I have to bear. My depression is my depression. And I gotta fucking deal with that. And there are
But
people that have
mhm,
like personality disorders, that are people who are suffer from real mental health, like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or those type of things. Those are things that need help. They need real help, and that's not something
mhm.
that prayer can fix. And
Wait. Yeah, but I've got a response to that. It's not but Jesus. It's but Job.
fuck Job.
But if you just suffer, if you just gotta suffer for the Lord's name,
And
you
that's the
just suffer
part.
long enough, and that was my trauma.
Right. And it's just the
Mhm,
Lord is the one that's going to fill you with peace. And you always, I remember there was one really bad episode I was going through as a
mhm,
teenager, and it was something that happened after a traumatic incident. And and I was going through it, and I remember there were times where I was just praying and I was not feeling the peace. And I was just praying and I was like searching my Bible and I was trying to find peace. And I was trying, the Lord knows the path for you. He would not hurt you or
mhm.
harm you. I remember there was like a
Yep,
proverb in Proverbs somewhere.
yep,
He knows the way for you. And I'm like,
mhm.
he would not hurt me. Then why am I going through this? If he's not hurting me, why am I hurting? And I remember just being so, I felt it was just stacked on itself. The more I prayed, the more I read my Bible, the
Mhm.
worse it got. And I was like, what am I lacking? And the
What are you doing
answer to
wrong?
what am I doing wrong? The answer to that, what am I lacking? I am lacking the proper mental health tools
Mhm, mhm.
to work through what I was going through. Instead,
To
I
understand.
was to understand what I was going through.
Mhm.
Instead, I was sitting here not addressing and fixing the issue.
Yep.
It's like when you have a leak in your ship and it's like filling with water and you're shoveling the buckets out but not fixing the leak, and you're wondering why nothing is working because you're not fixing the leak. You're just trying to
Mhm.
fix like just the immediate thing that
Sail in
you're
the water, the
drowning in.
symptoms. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. You don't you're you don't learn the skills to understand, and you're not directed to mental health professionals services. It's all about, well, and I think that's because the people who were telling us this didn't exactly know either. That's what they did. And although uh mental health is seen quite a bit differently now than when we were growing up, so I know that's a big part of it. Now, I don't know if people, if churches still do the same thing. If Christians a lot of times will do the same thing. I kind of suspect they might. But I know when we were growing up, mental health was not given a lot of. There was a lot of stigma around mental health. There wasn't a lot of.
You
It
never
wasn't
went to
something that you just
therapy.
did.
You
Yeah.
never went to therapy. And your therapy
Hmm.
was a counseling session with the pastor
Yes. Yes, it was.
or
Hmm.
your youth minister. Your therapy
Yes.
was not
Yes.
with a mental health professional that went to school to provide that proper health. And
Hmm.
again, it's like having a wound and you going to like a wound that's infected and then going to a, naturalist and they putting some grass on it and be like, it'll be fine. You just have to believe in the power of the grass.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I think that that was the thing for us growing up. Now, again, it is a different time. It is a different time, and I
Hmm.
think I'm thankful for that. I am thankful that it's slowly mental health is slowly starting, I say
Hmm.
slowly because there's still a lot of stigma around it. There's still a lot of
Yes.
like there's still a lot of people out there who don't want to seek help and don't want to do all the things. Would you? Because you can already feel being judged by the culture. Oh yeah, and they'll share it with their wives, and their wives will share it with the WMU, and the WMU will share it with their husbands,
Yes.
and their
Yes.
husbands will
Yes.
share it with the deacons, and then everybody knows your tea, and then you get prayer
Hmm.
requests.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And the southern way of so are you okay? Are you doing okay? I God revealed to me that you're just
God
the
revealed to me.
God revealed to me. I was praying about you and you popped up in my prayers. And God revealed
Yes.
to me that just put your name on my heart. And I'm just
On
trying
my
to
yes.
check in. Put it on my heart. When really what that is, that's Southern
Mm,
Baptist for saying, I heard some gossip about you and I want to hear firsthand, but I'm not going to come out and tell you I heard gossip about you
there
so that you can tell me the
oh,
truth.
man. Right, Miko. Mhm.
Here I inevitably decide to
Yeah.
leave the church.
Nail on
Oh.
the head. Oh, man. Mhm. But wait, how is it not like a cult? Because 'Cause I'm starting to feel some culty vibes.
It's feeling a little cultish.
Little vibe, yeah. Mhm.
But okay, so with the rise of mental health
Mhm.
awareness and with the rise of the more acceptance of mental health,
Mhm.
thus enter the Christian mental health professional.
Mm.
Take it away, Sean.
Oh god. Actually, before I talk about that, I wanna go back to, the whether churches now.
Apparently, Beardful Me's apparently it's Communion Day at Beardful Me's.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds pretty cool. Yeah, yep. We were
I
talking about Jesus crackers earlier.
We were talking about because I said Jesus Christ on a cracker, and he says, "No, Jesus is the cracker."
Exactly. Oh, oh,
Oh,
oh,
yep.
oh,
Okay,
Miko.
wait,
Yeah, hold on,
Miko.
hold on.
Miko, just wait. It gets
So,
oh,
real
but it
quick
gets good.
about the whether churches currently send people to mental health professionals or not. I went through divorce counseling. I think it was called divorce care. I didn't. It was recommended to me by my Christian counselor, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Um, I didn't realize it was a church thing. It was in a big old Southern Baptist church down the road. It was a group, um, and this was heavily, like, not just lightly in there. No, the entire thing was heavily wrapped in Christianity. Every lesson, everything, "Oh, so you're experiencing these emotions. Well, here's the Bible verses to help you out." The entire thing was pretty much a devotional focused on dealing with divorce. Now, the information about things that you're gonna deal with that were not completely covered in religiosity, that was helpful. You're gonna experience these emotions, and these things are gonna happen. But then it was like, so what do you do with that? Oh, well, you just need to read your Bible. Here's a bunch of scriptures that you need to read, and then you need a journal. That was it. Not you might want to seek professional counseling.
Not these emotions are normal and here are the
Yeah,
proper tools to deal with it. Okay, and before you get in your mental
yeah.
health, and
So,
and that sort of
hmm
breeds into, we are not saying that seeking a higher power when you are in a bad place is bad. We are not saying
hmm
that, because there is some, whatever that higher power is, there is some comfort in seeking, or in just seeking that higher power. Whatever that looks like for you. Some people are pagan or Wiccan, or they seek whatever, and there is a
hmm
comfort in that. What I
hmm
am saying is using that as your sole concentration of trying to fix your mental health problems. It's
You
that
may have some deep. Sorry, go ahead.
n- it there there is a huge difference. For example, when I am in a very, very dark place, and I mean dark, and I mean one of those where my brain and my thoughts and my emotions are in that cyclone, and I can't mentally and emotionally grab hold of anything. I can't steady myself. I say Hail Marys. I say Hail Marys. Now, I don't say, I use the Hail Mary as a mantra because of it. It is words, it is a phrase, it is a saying. I have to actually think about it. So it's something that distracts me from my thought process. And then I can say it repeatedly until I start grounding myself. And I'm not Catholic. I'm not Catholic. And I'm also not using it as a prayer, but I think it
hmm
is a good saying for me. And it's a religious text, it's a religious saying, but I am not using it as a prayer. It is just a phrase that I use to help ground myself. A prayer is, ooh, I have a definition. Ooh, doo, 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 doo. A prayer is a solemn request for help or an expression of thanks addressed to God or an object of worship. I don't use it as a prayer, I use it as a
hmm
mantra. There is beauty in religion, but there's also it's danger in religion as well. And so that's what we're saying. Is like, when you're dealing with a mental health issue, we're not saying don't look to a higher power.
hmm
We're saying use that alongside of the tools that a true mental health professional can get you. Use it
Yeah.
coincide, or don't.
For for some people, reading those scriptures, doing a devotional, praying, that may be perfectly fine, and they may be totally good with that. But then there are lots of other people that know that there's something else happening, or they start feeling bad about themselves. They feel like something's wrong with them because this thing isn't working.
I hate when people use devotionals and all of this, like,
Mhm,
religious as denial. I am feeling bad. I'm going to use all this. Now I feel better. So the problem must be fixed. Problem's not really fixed,
mhm,
Linda. The problem's not
mhm.
really fixed. You can throw some icing on some styrofoam and make it look like a pretty cake. It doesn't mean that it's fixed or that
Yeah,
it's really a cake. It's still fucking
yeah.
styrofoam. All right, you continue with your
Sweet, we can get.
story. I'm gonna
Oh,
I'm
are
gonna
you gonna take
ban.
care of that?
I got it.
But I wanna get some primes. I wanna get some viewers and stuff.
Oh my
Teach me
god,
how.
fine. You do it. You do it.
No,
Fine.
no,
You
no, it's
bought.
fine. No, I'm talking. Okay, so Miko needs to hear this.
Yes.
All right, so it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I sought a mental health professional. Um, Interestingly enough, it was my ex who encouraged me to go. Because she was going to someone, and so I fought it for the longest time, and then I was like, okay, this is when and this is also when I was still in the church and whatnot. Um, so she was going to see a lady, and this counselor's spouse was also counselor. They had their own practice together, and so I went to see them. They were they were Christian counselors. They did couples counseling, but we saw them individually. I saw one and she saw the other. Um, it was there was some benefit to it. It was definitely better than not going. But there was still that reinforcement of focus. Oh, you just got to focus on if you and your spouse can get closer if you just focus on God, because triangle, right? The triangle thing. Um, it was very. Honestly, I wasn't so much at the point of I wanted Christian counseling. I just wanted counseling, and that I didn't know who to go to, where to. I didn't know. Do I just Google it, and that works, And like I said, so my ex was seeing one, so I saw the other. That's where I started. I just wasn't looking for Christian counseling, but it was very heavy in that, and I was like, so just kind of went on through it. It helped some. It was not that effective. It went on longer probably than it should have. It was okay. Um, but like I said, there was just way too much focus on the religious aspects of counseling. And it reinforced the are you reading your Bible? Are you praying? Do you pray together? And all this stuff. And I'm just like,
The
no,
stupid
no, I don't.
triangle. Y'all know.
This, yeah, yeah, we know the
Y'all know.
triangle.
The triangle. And not
Yes,
the
the
good kind
triangle.
either.
Yeah, I would say don't extend that. This is the triangle. Yeah, don't. Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
not that
saying.
triangle. Wrong triangle.
All
It's
right, all
it's
right.
not far. Okay, so it wasn't. I didn't realize how it wasn't very effective until I started going to my other counselor. So after I think I was there for like 3 years, 3 or 4 years, and it kind of got to a point where it felt like it was talk therapy. I really didn't feel like there was any progress being made. That part of that I think was my fault because I wasn't being completely open. But he was also just kind of letting the conversation go. Like there was no, I just didn't feel like it was being very effective, and part of that was my fault. But then so I left him, and I did actually Google, and I found one nearby, and he is a therapist, licensed therapist who is happens to be a Christian. He rarely ever brings up religion or God. It's therapy. Um, and I didn't realize how more effective that perspective is than the Christian counseling. Like he will drive at some things. He and maybe he's just a better therapist. I don't know. I just didn't find I, I just didn't find the Christian counselor was effective for a little bit, but just not that effective. Especially if you're not looking for that focus on the Christian aspect of it. I felt like you could only go so far.
Okay, I have a serious question for you. And I honestly, I mean, as long as I have known you, I really haven't asked you this question.
Mm-hmm.
What tools did your Christian counselor give you tools to use that were legitimate, not just like read your Bible, but like did he give you tools versus your therapist now? Like, was there a focus on actually getting better mentally and not spiritually?
There was to a bit. There was a lot of focus. There was some focus on codependency, and there was a focus on assertiveness, being passive versus assertive. Um, and that helped some, but no, I don't really. I don't know if if there were tools. It was. I don't know. I'm not sure how I'd classify it. It was
I just had a thought. Sorry, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, no, it's
No,
fine.
you. Uh,
It was talking about situations and talking about how I acted and what I felt and what I could do differently or how to approach certain conversations. The need to be more assertive. He was very focused, I think, on the symptoms of what I was dealing with, whereas my current therapist is much bigger on figuring out what the root cause is. My current therapist will start tracing steps back. He'll be like, "Oh, tell me about this," and we'll start realizing, "Oh, well, this is what's happening. This is what's going on." Um, one of the big things that my therapist did that the counselor didn't was identifying things that are happening in my life that are contributing to what's going on, like my ex's addiction. I never considered that as an addiction until he went, "Yeah, that's an addiction, and that means you're the spouse of an addict." Holy crap! Wait, and he's like, "And that, and this is why you act a certain way. This is where this stuff is coming from. This is what's reinforcing it." The other one was like just kind of dealing with the symptom, whereas my therapist is really good at going back to the root cause.
I find it interesting that your Christian counselor was saying being more assertive
Hmm.
when that is really much how Christianity approaches manhood. Is to be assertive and the head of the household instead of saying, okay, you're acting this way. Like I found that I hadn't ever thought of that before because you and I have talked about your Christian counselor, especially when you were talking about leaving
Hmm.
and switching over. He's like, I just need to be more assertive.
Hmm.
Okay, okay, but you also need to it's not necessarily being assertive as so much as setting your boundaries and like hold like just a thought.
I did get a bit of a old school vibe from the guy. He felt very old school and yeah. If you can picture what a Christian counselor might look like, or sound like, it was this guy. Yeah. His office was in one of those. I think it used to be a parish. It was a little house next to the church, really old wooden floors. Pretty sure it used to be like a Sunday school classroom. I didn't find it very effective to deal with the trauma. I didn't realize what all the traumas that I was dealing with, all the things that have affected me through the years, and how
Mhm.
they've affected me until I actually went to my current therapist.
Oh, that's crazy.
So yeah,
When did you first start going to therapy? Like growing up in the church, like
mm-hmm,
I remember I had because of trauma. Because of trauma.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Little backstory. So I froze. Why did I
Oh yes,
freeze?
you did.
I bet because my children are on the freaking
Tell me to get off the internet.
I
At
know.
least the face that you froze in
Yeah, like
could
make
be
them
worse.
it could be. I mean, at least you can
It
hear me,
could be
I
absolutely. Hmm. So the actually my first while you're fixing that, my first counseling wasn't individual counseling. My first counseling was marriage counseling. I yeah, 5 years, 5 6 years or so into marriage, we went to couples counseling. Um, I don't know. I don't know if she talked about if she was a Christian counselor or not. Because that never really came up. But that was that. Yeah, that didn't go so well.
Obvi.
She w I think she did a great job, and I think she tried to tell me things and I wasn't listening. I have a feeling she tried to tell me things in very in therapist speak, but I just didn't listen.
I actually, I dealt with some trauma, and I with my parents' divorce, and so, and of course, my parents being the Christian parents, I was young. I was about 8 or 9, and so there was a lot of trauma also leading up to that. And so my I went to see the counselor, the school counselor. I went to go see the school counselor,
Mhm.
and because I was having emotional issues, as I was when I was that kid. I was crying in class, I was throwing fits, I had anger issues. And so I went and saw the counselor. And then I got home and the counselor was so concerned, she called my mother, which is not a problem. That's what you should do. When you're
Okay.
concerned, that's what you should do. You, as a counselor,
Mhm.
you're, hey, your child came in, blah, blah, blah. My mother about beat
Oh,
the piss
lord.
out of me. She was like, nobody's business. It is nobody's business what goes on. You need to pull yourself together, do what you have to do, pray what you got to pray, but it is nobody's business. And that was the last that it took about a year and a half. And then my stepdad came into the picture, still acting out, still acting like a little heathen, still dealing with all these anger issues. So I was about 10. And my stepdad, I was, again, just being a total brat. And my stepdad goes, she needs help. And this was before he started getting into the church, and like, cause he was not a churchgoer. Um,
Mhm.
but he's like, she needs help. And that was the first time I got help. And the first time I was like, okay, well, I'm learning how to deal with my anger.
Mhm.
And it only helped a little bit, but whatever.
What? Yeah, it's your genetics.
Right. And then I kept on in the church, and it's like, just pray about it. Like, I stopped
Mhm.
going because I had my problems were fixed,
Mhm.
and I didn't go
Couple
again until
sessions
I
and you're
was,
done.
yeah, right. And I didn't go
Mhm.
again until I went to college, and I had free access to free counseling in
Mhm.
college. And that's when I had already left the church. So that's when I really first started being like, I'm really fucked up, because they try when you're in the church, you think like, it's, yeah, you're fucked up, but you don't tell anybody you're fucked up, and you're a child of God. You're a child of God. If you believe, you're a child of God. So there's nothing wrong with you. And if there's something wrong with you, don't talk about it.
Mm-mm. Nope. Keep it quiet. Keep it to yourself. Yep.
Yes.
You don't share your business. Don't share your
Don't share
business.
your business.
But everybody
Nobody
wants
business.
to know your business.
Everybody already knows your business.
That's all.
Like,
That's true. Mhm.
yeah. So there is something to be said about faith
Mhm.
and believing in faith, and that bringing some type of comfort, and whatever you believe in. But there is a danger in only believing in that, when there is a real issue, when you have real problems, when you suffer real trauma.
Mhm.
Like, and that's also when I had some very awful things happen to me, and I was just told, I wasn't given the necessary tools,
Mhm.
mental health tools to
Yep.
deal with those.
I think the
I
people
was
that were
just
telling you didn't have them either.
told to pray about it. And here's some
Mhm.
birds. The Lord will take care of you. It'll be fine. It absolves me of the work.
Yep.
As long as I don't talk about it, it'll be fine. As long as I pray about it,
Mhm.
it'll be fine. As long as I don't think
Yep.
about it, it'll be fine. I got to give it to God, and it will be fine. And it wasn't, and isn't fine.
You were not doing the work. You didn't know.
And
You
honestly,
thought,
I would rather not be a Christian and be unfaithful and be mentally and emotionally healthy
mhm.
than the other way around.
Mental health and religious and your faith do not they're not mutually exclusive.
Mhm.
You can have both.
People think Church of Christ, science, Christian Science. I'm guessing as you're saying, adherers are the
Yeah.
only ones.
Are you talking about the people that don't Church of Christ? Oh, oh. You have to explain that one.
Yeah.
So, you want to talk about doing the work?
Uh, the sharing of actual medical needs are input. Okay. Oh, got it.
Oh yeah,
Christian
yeah. Mhm.
Science. Christian Science. Isn't that what it's
Yeah,
called?
gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
So I'm going to be real honest with you. I am actually completely terrified about all of this. Because this is something that means a lot to me. So I'm going to be upfront and honest. I literally was near panic attack before we started, like
you've been
clutched in fear.
and you spent 50 minutes procrastinating.
Shut up.
What?
Shut up. So I started my brand. I started Nerd Mom Ace because I love Don Darrow streams. I love being funny. I love Blue Skirt Boy Network. I do. I love it. It's that is one part of what I do. That is one part of who I am. I love it. And I am not saying that but the whole reason I personally started my content. I started my YouTube channel and I started all of this stuff. It is not just to game, but I also wanted to sort of tell my story and who I am. So, for those of you who don't know, we have the Assembly of Arugs, which also came out of Don Sarah Streams, came out of Don Darrowing 101. We talked about the Assembly. I have a following; it's a cult, so we nicknamed it the
Mhm.
Assembly of
An
Arugs.
assembly. We're an assembly.
We're an assembly. We're not a cult.
Mhm. Mhm.
um, so on Weebs, Dweebs, and Interweebs, we were talking about movies. And I know I'm probably gonna get butchered for this. I ended up saying I did not like the never ending story. And so I
Required gasp.
know, I know.
What?
I did not like it. And so then all of the WGI cast started doing what they
Oh,
do and giving me a hard time that our text drowned in the swamp of sadness that he gave up because I didn't like the never ending story. So, of course,
it's
I
true
only
story.
watched it one time in my childhood. So I was like, I actually got off the stream and cried. I was like, I'm not a horse drowner. People are going to think I
This
hate
was
horse.
this was early on too. This was when you hadn't quite got a feeling for how the norms of the Blue Scrub Boys.
Right, right. Now I'm like, I give it right back to them. Bog witch drowning horses. Yes, I'm a
Yep,
bog witch who
yep.
drowns horses and takes the money.
And
So
you take the money.
and I take the
Mhm.
money.
That's like 3
So
strikes.
I went back and I was like, okay, well, all right, I'm going to watch this scene. And you thought I hated you. And I did. I thought Miko
Mm.
absolutely hated me forever. Now she's one of my favorite people. But
Mhm.
so I went back and watched the scene, the Artex and the Swamp of Sadness scene. And they were right. It's the most heart-wrenching scene ever ever. Like I still watch it and cry. Um but I started thinking about it. So I actually made the logo for the Assembly of Arugs a horse that is drowning or mostly covered by the swamp or whatever. It is drowning. So I was thinking, and this was years ago, and I actually have had this up for a while now, but we thought that now we have this show about mental health and we have all and we're doing this is that I made a design and I started a merch line called Fight Against the Sadness. Um when you watch that scene, Atreyu, like, again, I don't know, like, Atreyu was in
Narthex.
Artex, they were
Hmm.
going through the swamp of sadness, and it's really, and if you read some of the passages from the book, it's like Artex just gives in to this sadness. And in the scene, there's Atreyu going, fight, you gotta fight it. And you have to, don't give up. You're stupid. Just all you have to do is give up. And it was like Atreyu didn't understand how overwhelming Artex was feeling. And it really just I sat there and sobbed. And it wasn't because it was just it was because I felt that so deeply. Because I have felt drowning. I have drowned. Like, and I've had those friends be like, why don't you just be happy? And again, like in the church, why don't you just pray about it? I am drowning. I am I'm drowning, and it's not that easy. And I also realized after watching it and sort of thinking about it and reading it that we have to make that choice for ourselves. We have to fight that. It's not he was like Atreyu was sitting there talking about it, and he's like, fight, just encouraging him and then angry at
Just
him and
pulling.
just pulling at him, trying to do the work for him. But it wasn't
Hmm.
Atreyu's job. It was Artax's job to get himself out, to overcome that sadness, to overcome that. And so I started my merch line of Fight Against the Sadness. And so Sean has the original design on that. Um and I actually, because as a designer, I actually have some symbolism behind it. Obviously, it's a white horse. Yes. The black obviously represents the sadness, but the red part, I've actually had a couple of people ask me about the red, and the red in it also represents that sometimes we carry around those trauma wounds and we carry around that hurt and that pain, and it bleeds and it's bleeding and we don't ever let anyone know about it, and it just continues until we really work on ourselves, until we really get the help that we need. Sometimes those gaping wounds just stay there and they just affect everything a part of our lives. um so with that, here at Nerd Mom Ace, we are starting a charity drive. With our Fight Against the Sadness, we have a whole bunch of Fight Against the Sadness merch on my store. Ta-da! So with every purchase, like, we have a whole bunch of stuff. We have sweatshirts and hoodies and
Zip hoodies.
t-shirts, zip
Mhm.
hoodies, like the hoodies. We have tank tops, we have water bottles, things like this. We have pillows and mugs and blankets. And if you are noticing a theme, these are all things that usually people who are suffering with some type of like depression, or they are struggling, or they're feeling sad, these are often things that people use: blankets, pillows, hoodies, things that bring comfort. Um, with every purchase of anything against Fighting Against the Sadness, we are donating to Mental Health America this month. Um, we have stickers on there. We have even posters. So if you don't have like enough money to buy a hoodie, that's fine. Um, but everything is we're donating to Mental Health America, and Mental Health America also has online. Um, I'm gonna post it here. They have
I
a website where you can take some screening tests, and they will help get you in touch with some they will get you help. They will start getting you help. So and if you don't have enough money to buy even merchandise, on my link tree, there's a place for donations. Every donation or tip that you give me, I am giving straight to Mental Health America. So that is that's what a bit too. I know what it's like to feel like you're drowning. I know what it's like to have that wound, and that's why I stream. That's why I have this show. That's why I have my YouTube channels is I want to give people the help that they need. And I'm not a professional, but I can tell the least I can do is let them know, "Hey, I'm screwed up too and it's going to be okay." And that's this that's why this is a very important thing to me. It is something that I do year round, that I have in my store year round, but this we are really trying to do a push this month so that because it is mental health awareness month. So,
I can tell you, I've had this. This is the first version, the original iteration of it. I've got this, and you may have also seen the mug. I've had the mug on some of the episodes. Um, so these are in my cabinets, and I can tell you, they're great reminders to me. I open up my cabinet to figure out which mug out of the like 50 I'm gonna get. I'm gonna use today, and sometimes I see that mug, and I if I'm having a morning, sometimes I'm having just a difficult morning. Um, Seeing that mug is a great reminder to me. It's a reminder that one, I got to do the work. That's kind of a lot of what it means to me is I can't expect someone to pull me out. I can't rely on someone to pull me out of the bog. I got to do some work myself. But it also means that I may need some help to get out of the bog. I may need to see someone. I may need to talk to a therapist, seek a professional, someone to help me. I can't necessarily do it by myself. And so I get both, and it's a reminder that you know what, you're not alone in this. And sometimes just, and a lot of times I'll grab that mug. Like this is my mug for today. I need this mug. And other times it's just a good reminder. So
I
I love this brand.
I also wanted to point out and remind you, I cried. I had my feelings hurt by them making fun of me for not like
Get on the horse.
I was really upset by this.
Yeah.
And what when I stopped and I took account and I took really thought about it, I went, "You know what? Let's own this.
Hmm.
Let's take this and make something good out of it." And it became I was like, "You know what? Let's do something good with it." And that's where all of this came from is that I want to do something good. And this is my way to do something good. So, anyone who purchases anything, I ask that you share this and any donations that come to Nerd Mom Ace in the month of May, all of those are going straight to Mental Health America. It provides it helps get them resources, it helps all of that. And if you are feeling like you need help, we'll find one for you. We'll like contact us and we'll find you help. Like
Hmm.
that's really
You know some people.
why we do what we do. This is why Sean and I decided to start this because we're realizing there were a lot of people who grew up like we did and feeling
Yep.
that shame around whatever or feeling that and we wanted to support others through what we went through. And so this is we're starting this the fight against the sadness and it is something that is very dear to my heart and have I have really felt that one and you know what? I took it and I owned it, and I'm going to do good with it. And this is where the fight against the sadness was born, is that we have to make that choice. We're not saying don't feel that way. We're saying make the choice to work out of it. Do the work to work out of it, and that you're not alone, and that
Yep.
there's help out there, but you have to be the one to make the choice, and you have to be the
Yep.
one to seek the help, because
And
sometimes
friends.
that's hard. That's hard,
Yeah, absolutely.
and I get that. But your friends can only do so much. Your loved one can only do so much. And what but the reason we are, Mental Health America, we're donating to that is because once people make that choice, whether it to be take the screening test or go look up a therapy, they need, sometimes it's like I can't afford to go to therapy. We'll find you help. We'll find whatever you need to do, and Mental Health America does do that. They help get you the resources that you need. So once you make that choice, I don't want to, I want to help make sure that people get the help they need. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah. that- And so May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So this is my way of helping. So,
You- You're doing a great job. I love the merchandise. The new stuff that you've made is all the hoodies. Yeah, I'm about to purchase several of those.
and there is a blanket on my store with the new there's a lot of stuff on the new store that I haven't put up in this slideshow that is on there. So, and if you just go to my store, I actually start it. So most of the stuff is already at the top. So it's right there. And
You were telling me something special about the blanket.
the new one,
Tell
the new
tell about the
blanket.
blanket.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So the new blanket, if you go to the store and you see it, you'll see like it's sideways. Because usually you put the design on a portrait mode, right? So it's like this. But when you wrap yourself in the blanket, you don't wrap it long ways. You wrap it, you wrap it around
It
you with the long end on you. So I positioned the design on the blanket so that when you're wrapped up in it, you can read it or you can see it, and it's not sideways, and it's a reminder that you've got this. And that's what I did on that. I
I love that everything is comfort. It's the sweatshirts, the hoodies, it's the blankets, the
the
pillow.
pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
all the
and
things.
it's all the things that you, and I put some wall hangings because sometimes you just stare at the wall. Like, and let's be honest, when we're in a really, I don't know about you, Sean, but I know for me, there's sometimes where I'm laying in bed and I am literally, there's a painting. I am staring at that
Mhm,
painting by my bed and I'm just staring at it. And so
mhm.
I made sure to put some wall hangings on there. If you want, so that is my May push, is help support Mental Health America, and help support all of that, and purchase some merch. We'll donate to Mental Health America. Or if you don't have that much money and just like, hey, I only have $5 or $10, but I want to support. On my link tree, you can, every donation or tip or whatever I get on from my link tree is going straight there. So yeah, that is what we're doing. And now I'm terrified. Now I want to sort of throw up because
Your mental health is important.
it is important.
I say
It
that
is
to
important.
I'm saying that to you, and I'm saying that to everyone watching. Your mental health is important.
Yes. So, and we are, that's why we do this. That's why I know that's why Sean and I do this is, yeah, that's why we have Waking Up with Nana and PepPep. It's funny and it's cute and it's whatever, but it's also us trying to build a community of support, a safe space for people. So, yay! I don't know. I don't know how to.
Y
So
you
there we go.
you did
There you go,
you
folks.
That's it.
Yes, that's it. That's plain and simple.
Oh, so are you,
Oh,
Kelvin, you
thanks,
know.
Covino. Yeah, so are
We love our
you.
super fans.
Yes. So that's it. That's all I got. I
So I
did my
got.
thing.
You
I
did you
did
did. You did it
procrastinate.
well.
I did
You
procrastinate.
did. I know. I was looking at the time going, "You're procrastinating, aren't you?" Yeah, yeah. You are. Yeah, you're like, this is book report day, and you're calculating how many people in the class still have yet to go, and how long each person takes, and do you think you can get away with not going today? Can I make it till tomorrow? That's exactly what you were. I saw it because that was that
Shut up.
guy.
Shut up.
Hmm.
Thanks, beautiful me. So, yes.
Hmm.
So, the church really screwed us in our mental health, and Sean and I are still working through a lot of
Still.
we
Hmm.
still working through a lot of that. Um but we're getting there. We're doing the work. And just like
Yes.
yesterday, yesterday was not a good mental health day for me. I literally had a huge relapse. I mean, a puddle. And it took some time to work through it. Sean, you're being
Hmm.
too loud. Wait, Sean, being too loud?
Me too loud? When am I ever too loud?
um so I had a bad day yesterday. I really did. And so that's what made I
Mhm.
think today a little nervous. I for me is nerve-wracking is I feel like, can I go in and talk about mental health and getting the help you need, and I'm having a mental breakdown. Oh, it's a saying.
Oh, am I
I'm
in the
having
library?
I have a
Mhm.
mental breakdown, and Sean's like, that's exactly why you need to go on tomorrow and talk about mental health, because you're having a mental breakdown. And so you need to
And
go
you
on.
didn't
And
ignore it. Yep, you didn't ignore it. You didn't just, pray about it. You didn't you realized what was happening, and you dealt with it. You worked through it.
and
You felt it.
oh, or something.
Yeah, you felt it. Mhm.
So thank you for joining us on this May
Mhm.
1st of May 1st, May Day.
Mhm.
Mayday! Oh, you know what? Funny. Mayday,
It
Mayday.
y
Mental health awareness.
Oh my god.
Ha ha!
I was gonna go with it's gotta be May, but that's just me.
You know what? Mine's better. Mayday, Mayday.
Mayday, Mayday, Lord.
Well, thank you for
This is
joining us
where
on
we
this
should,
Sunday. Yeah,
jump ship.
this is where this is where we're jumping ship. Thank you for joining
Mhm.
us. Please again, if you feel so inclined, or as they say in the church, if you feel the spirit moving you,
If you feel so led.
if you feel so led,
Mhm.
actually, please go and support the Fight Against the Sadness charity. It's on my merch store. It's the very first thing you should see when you get on there. And or if not, just go to my link tree and donate. And
Mhm.
let's help some people in this country get the help they need.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us,
Thanks,
and
everyone. We'll see
we'll
you next
see
time.
you next week.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye.